What if I told you that a 10-second estimate could save a company millions? In this video, I'm going to teach you why we bother estimating software projects at all. But first, let's talk about how to save millions. Imagine you find yourself in the following situation. You are asked to estimate a large software project. We're talking thousands of hours. You don't really have any requirements, just a rough idea of what management wants. Your decision will impact the strategic direction of your company. And as you start working, you begin to realize that management probably don't really know exactly what they've asked for. What would you do in this situation? We did something a little bit wild. I asked the lead developer, if you're going to estimate the whole shebang, the entire project, how long would it take? Now he thought for about 10 seconds and said 5,000 hours. Great. I took those 5,000 hours, communicated that to management, including the fact that it was a back of the envelope estimate that we spent around 10 seconds making. The result? Management didn't laugh, they didn't panic, they listened. Once they realized the real scope of what they were asking, the 5,000 hours, they did a strategic re-evaluation of the project before a single line of code was written. What's the lesson here? The 10-second estimate had immense value to management. Even an estimate as crude as this enabled the management to take better and more informed decisions. I am going to give you 3 solid reasons for why we bother estimating anything at all. And stick around to the end where I'll be talking about that one thing about estimation that keeps us all up at night. Some of you would probably like to be locked up in the closet and spend 8 hours every day coding in solitude. And the result of that would be horrible. Writing code is a team effort. We write great code together with others, together with your team members, your team leader, and, I'm going to say it, the M word, even the managers. Communication is the foundation for collaboration and the first reason for why we bother estimating anything at all. Let's illustrate with an example of how estimation can be used to improve internal communication within the project. You've probably heard about planning poker, and if you haven't, let me know in the comments and I might make a separate video about it. But in short, planning poker consists of 2 steps. Step 1. Each team member estimates a single task. They keep this estimate secret, not telling it to the other team members in order to avoid influencing each other during this process. 2. The estimates are revealed. If the estimates are pretty close to each other, we choose the highest one, set that for the estimate for this single task, and we move on to the next. But what do we do if the estimates are very far apart? Say you think a task takes 1 day, and I think the same task takes 1 week. This means you and me do not have the same understanding of the task. So we talk, we iron out any misunderstandings, we align, and eventually we have the same understanding of the task. We have estimated to communicate. Similarly, when we communicate an estimate to a stakeholder external to the project, such as management or a customer, we align our expectations and understanding of the project. We estimate to communicate. There is a problem that I have observed repeatedly with providing estimates. The one thing that often keeps us awake at night, the fear of commitment to the estimates. And we're going to get back to that towards the end of the video. What's the big deal about estimates anyway? Sometimes there's just too much uncertainty, unfamiliar technologies, semi-self-aware legacy code, and unclear requirements. I should just exaggerate my estimates to be absolutely sure that I'm able to deliver within the time I promised. Aha, you're thinking I've cracked the estimate enigma. Well, whereas crack might have been involved, you've solved absolutely nothing. Never exaggerate your estimates. Which neatly brings us to the second reason for why we bother estimating anything at all: risk management. Do you have large uncertainties related to the estimate of a single task? Congratulations! You have discovered a risk. In this situation, your approach is dead simple. Number one, provide an estimate as accurate as possible to the best of your abilities given what you know. Do not exaggerate. Number two, create a risk analysis. Number three, submit the risk analysis together with the estimate. Your clear communication of risks combined with an honest estimate gives your team members, your team leader, management, and the customers a clear understanding of the task ahead. By the way, risk management is a topic of its own. If your project feels like extinguishing a never-ending series of fires, cry out in the comments below, and I might put making a separate video about risk management on my plan. Plan, you say? Now that's a convenient segue to the third reason for why we bother estimating anything at all: planning. When you make estimates for the milestones plan in your project plan, you estimate to plan. When you make estimates for the upcoming sprint, you estimate to plan. Most projects require some level of planning. Planning is a necessary evil. Too little planning is weak project management, which leads to chaos, mayhem, and eventually a delayed project. Too much planning causes inefficient project execution, inflexibility, and eventually a delayed project. There's a balance you have to find in here somewhere. You need to find that balance when you estimate software development tasks to plan your projects. Whether you're planning for the upcoming sprint or for your project plan, your estimates must be good enough. Our goal is that the combined estimate of all the tasks roughly indicate when we will be finished. When you do your estimates, follow the Gandalf rule. Estimates do not take too much time, nor too short. The estimates are finished exactly when they need to. Now that we have established the three reasons for why we bother estimating software projects at all: communication, risk, and planning, let's address your greatest fear, the fear of commitment. I have repeatedly experienced a reluctance to give estimates out of a fear of commitment. Estimates are scary because we promise to deliver a task within a certain time. This is initially very positive because it shows honesty and commitment on the side of the software developer. However, this approach will lead us astray. The estimate of a single task does not promise its completion. Now you think I must have gone crazy, that my marbles must be all over the place. Don't we estimate to estimate? Remember what I told you in my previous video. Estimates are predictions about the future, and nobody can accurately predict the future. Hence, the golden rule of estimation: you suck at it. The estimate of a single task is likely quite uncertain, but if we follow the Gandalf rule of good enough, the combined estimates of all of our tasks should roughly indicate when we're done. And that is good enough for why we create the estimates, which are communication, risk management, and planning. Some of you might think that if you just keep spending more time on the estimates and less time on software development, eventually we'll reach perfection. I want you to ask yourself the following question. If you cannot predict the future, will spending more time on those predictions make them more accurate? And right now it's starting to rain, and that was perfect timing. Whee!